If is the latest movie on the big screen, so let's talk about it. Okay, so If is the newest movie that has this interesting premise about it, where what would happen if you could see your imaginary friends? Imagine that. Imagine seeing them. So the whole movie is about a character who is going through some trauma with stuff that's happening in her family, and she discovers these imaginary friends, and now she is going to help them rekindle back with new kids. So that is basically what If is all about. Now, granted, this is not a movie. If don't go in there expecting this movie to be a Oscar-worthy movie, because that's not what it's trying to be. This is mainly directed towards kids, with themes running throughout it that adults can, gravitate to and actually connect with. Now, If from the trailers looked like it was going to be a fun time. It looked like it was going to be this little charming film. Now, after seeing it, it is a charming film. It is. It's not the best film. It's not the best sort of film that I've seen like this. But there are pros and there are cons to the movie as well. One of the pros that I really like is the premise of the movie. The movie about the imaginary friends themselves. Rekindling that as you're an adult. Going back, never letting that child leave the inner you. And always living life to its max. Having fun. Because that's ultimately what life is about. So I really like that. And the whole premise with them actually having the imaginary friends be sort of that sort of message and symbol as that, I thought was really creative and really good. Now, as for the execution, it does get a little bit messy, the story-wise, because they try to tell you this is what imaginary friends are, this is how they rekindle things, this is what is required in that. And then they change it multiple times throughout the film. So it's almost as if they were like, this is a cool idea here. Oh, I kind of like this idea a bit better. And then I like this way a bit better. So they just added all of them into it. So in a way, it can get messy. But then again, remember, this is mainly directed for the kids as an audience. So they're not really diving deep into the plot lines and the story wise and thinking, oh, okay, so that is why that works that way, but it doesn't work here anymore. It works this way. They're not really thinking about it. Kids aren't thinking that. They're thinking, whoa, look at that big giant purple monster. What is that? Like, they're asking the question, what is that thing? What is that if? Who created it? That's what they're thinking. So they're not thinking about those sort of things. So you got to take that with how you would see these movies. You got to remember that these aren't targeted towards us particular for that. But that is something that happens in the film. It does get messy. Another thing that I really like about the film is the creativity behind it and the visual effects. The ifs look incredible, and I have to give it to them. The creativeness behind the ifs themselves to create that many different variations and to make them vibrant, to make them pop off the screen, to make them visually pleasing. It takes a lot because it's not easy to just create. Like, you could easily just create simple things. But no, they go out of their way to try and create something that is different and unique in their own way. Because there are different ifs in here where you're like, that's really creative. That is something that I wouldn't have thought you could do or something like that. And then you look at it, they don't look out of place in this movie. So sometimes when you have a CGI character that is, motion captured, whatever, and you see it, you can really tell that they're out of place, that they're not real, because they're next to the human characters and that, and it just doesn't work. Here, they don't feel like they're out of place at all. You're looking and you're like, yeah, okay, I believe that they're actually there. So I thought the visual effects are quite stunning in this film, and it really works. And like I said, the vibrant colors. There's this sequence where they go to where the ifs are. It's brilliant. That is probably my favorite sequence of the whole entire movie because it's so vibrant, so creative with what they did there. So I got to give him props for that. I thought that was fantastic. And John Krasinski directed it brilliantly, especially in those scenes to bring it to life and make you feel like that. Now, another thing I liked is obviously Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. The man is just so good in these type of movies. This isn't a typical Ryan Reynolds that we're used to. This is not like the Deadpool where he's over the top or anything like that. This is a dialed down version of Ryan Reynolds, but it's good. It is really, really good. And then you have Miss Fleming, who plays the little girl in here. We know her as Judith. We watched her grow up in The Walking Dead as Judith, and she is really good in this movie. And I'm excited to see where her career goes moving forward now and what role she's going to do in the future, because you can see the talent in her. You can see it. It's right there. And I think her and Ryan bounced off each other really well. The chemistry was great. And then you throw in Blue, who is the big purple monster, and that chemistry, that dynamic just worked so many times. Now, obviously, we have John Krasinski in here as well. He is superb. He plays the father. The dynamic between the father and the daughter, they do, like, it's there. It's the forefront of it. It's the major driving force of this movie. It's the heart and soul of it, that bond and that connection and what is going on. But they do leave it maybe a little bit too long, because then when you go back to it, you kind of forgot about it in a way, and then you're like, oh, okay. So when the emotional, hard-hitting scenes happen, you do feel emotional, but I don't think you get the full weight of what it could have been. The potential of that scene could have been Waterworks, but you never quite get to the Waterworks moments, even though it's supposed to be like that. But because they just left it, and you kind of forget about it, and then when they come back to it, you're like, oh, I forgot about this plot. This plot line that was going on here. I forgot about all that. Wow, okay. So then it's kind of like, oh, it took away from that emotional connection that you had. So that's another little bit of a flaw. And this may be a little bit tad too long. There is a few pacing issues here. It does drag on in certain sequences and scenes. But nevertheless, I think If is a good family film. I do. Is it one of the best family films? No, it is not on the same level as like a Toy Story. It's not on that type of level. So, but go into it expecting that this is mainly going to be more for kids than adults, while there are themes about enjoying life to its fullest, keeping that inner kid in you, always having hope no matter what. There's those running themes throughout this movie that us adults can connect with, that I think they did a good job. This could have been better. Yes, they obviously could have. The story could have, like I said, it's a bit messy and it starts to contradict itself with certain points that happen. But again, kids don't really think about that stuff. That's what we do. But overall, I would say as a family film, definitely check this film out. I think a lot of people are going to have it. Like I said, if not, the creativity behind it is brilliant. The premise is great as well. And yeah, I'm happy that I saw it. And I feel like this is one that I think people are going to watch while they're at home with their families and their kids. So yeah, I think it's done its job. I think it did exactly what it needed to do, and it did it well. So let me know what you guys think of If you guys have seen it, smash it down there, smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe and peace out.